Hi, real quick. I have a new channel called Hub World where I play games and yap with two of my best friends. Check us out. Link in the description. Okay, video time.
Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. Yar har fiddle-dee-dee.
Good evening. My name is John Hub, and oh god, not again. In case you're new to the channel, in 2024 I completed every game in the Like a Dragon series. Fast forward to February 21st, 2025, RGG Studios releases Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. They will not let me rest.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
So now that I've awoken from my eternal slumber, I'd like to avast ye with the booty that is 100%ing Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Will this completion be a real treasure, or will it give me scurvy? Find out all of this and more in another swashbuckling installment of You Best Start Believing in Ghost Stories, Mr. Hub, 'cause you're in one. Arrgh. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii is the latest installment in the Like a Dragon series. The announcement and trailers of this game left everyone a mix of excited and confused, with some questioning the direction the series is going in. For my money, I think the series can stand to get even wilder. My dream game is a turn-based RPG in a fantasy setting that's reminiscent of Dragon Quest, and the different characters have classes like warrior, mage, thief, etc., but I digress. Although the premise of Goro Majima losing his memories and becoming a pirate in the modern day, all while letting a child named Noah live out his dream of becoming a pirate is a little out there, this actually is a canon story. I will say though, whether this is a firmly non-canon spin-off or a canon main installment doesn't really matter all that much, because the truth of the matter is that this is a very standalone story that will have really no impact or bearing on the series from what I can tell. This may be disappointing for the fans who wanted some crazy Majima plot development to happen, but I think this is great as it allows brand new players to hop right into the game. And if this is somehow your first Like a Dragon game, it's a pretty good one to start out with. The combat feels absolutely amazing. Majima has two fighting styles, his Mad Dog style, which has been revamped from past games to incorporate moves from his other styles, and to not suck shit. I've said since the beginning that Majima's Mad Dog style is not very fun to play with in other games, and it turns out that the solution is to gut 95% of its moves and make it fun. This style has a combination of hand-to-hand and knife attacks, as well as the ability to create doppelgangers. All in all, this style is well suited for one-on-one fights for the most part, with a couple of tools to dispatch groups of enemies. The other style Majima has access to is Sea Dog. This style incorporates two cutlasses, a pistol, a grappling hook, and magical instruments that allow you to summon Monkey. This is definitely the AoE style, more fit for groups of enemies, but honestly both styles are so strong, it's really up to whichever playstyle you prefer. My story run wasn't too wild, all things considered. I played on professional difficulty, which is the hardest, and it was a pretty fair level of difficulty. Really the only fight that I struggled on was in the finale of the game, specifically on this fight right here. Over the course of the game, you build up a pirate crew and you can level them. I kinda rushed to finish the story, so I brute forced the game, and this fight put up quite a bit of resistance. But after an hour of attempts, I did that. Okay, I've been holding off on talking about it, but I guess I will. I did not care for the story of Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Now let me start with the positives. The character designs are top-notch. We love how Masaru, Jason, Noah, and the gang all look. I love the heart that the story has. Even though the story is about a 60-year-old man losing his memories and becoming a pirate in the modern day, this game was still able to tear at my heartstrings at times. The past few Like a Dragon games have had this theme of chasing your dreams, and Majima is spending his time helping others chase their dreams. I get that, it's endearing as shit. And the parts where the entire crew break out into song and dance are super cool too. There's a lot to love. My main issue stems from the characterization of the main cast, as well as the pacing of the story. Majima has none of his memories throughout the entire game, which to me makes him essentially a blank slate. As a result of this, as a character, he doesn't really feel like Majima all that much to me. Maybe I'm alone on this, but I feel like if you placed most other characters in the same situations, they'd probably make a lot of the same decisions throughout the story. In regards to pacing, Chapter 1 starts off very strong, introduces us to our core cast of characters, our potential antagonists, then it forgets about them for most of Chapters 2 and 3. Those are spent introducing us to the plethora of activities available as a pirate. In the latter half of Chapter 4, the story picks back up in a meaningful way, and then you're at the finale. From a story perspective, I feel like Jason and Masaru specifically are neglected pretty badly and don't contribute a ton. My hottest take is that Jason only exists so Majima doesn't look weird hanging out with a child all game. It's not to say that Jason is underdeveloped or doesn't have good moments, it's just that they only happen in the first and last chapter of the story. So yeah, I'd say about half of the story consists of story itself, and then the rest is pirating, which frankly I don't mind. I got this game because I wanted to have fun pirate adventures, and let me tell you, there are some fun-ass pirate adventures to be had. Allow me to regale ye with a shanty of me journey, Mr. Squidward. I said it once, I'll say it a million times. I think this game is a gameplay-first game. By that, I mean I feel like RGG Studios had the idea to make Majima a pirate and designed a fun ship combat minigame first, then developed the story later. I think this is actually a great thing too, because the pirate side story is probably my favorite activity that's come out of a Like a Dragon title, period. The first step is building your pirate crew. There are a few methods of doing this. The game gives you 5 crewmates just from story progression, who end up being the best units in the game. You can even upgrade them from gold to platinum rank by finding conversations on the map that let you get to know them better. A ton of crewmates can be found through sub-stories, the game's side quests. You typically go to a mission marker, interact with a silly character or enter a ridiculous situation, fight a guy or two, and bam, you got a new crewmate. I didn't really find any of the sub-stories in this game to be particularly engaging or entertaining to me, but if I had to choose one, it'd definitely be the one where you find 5 women, and there's an extended plotline about finding Masaru a date. The cutscenes change from in-game to live action, which is kinda scary, and then it ends with you recruiting the 5 girls you met as crewmates, and they're some of the best crewmates for sure. Now there are 2 other ways to recruit crewmates. One is by interacting with NPCs that show up on the map, who each have different requirements to recruit them. Usually you have to give them items or money, beat them in a fight, or prove your worth through other means. The final and most annoying way to recruit crewmates is through minigames. A ton of minigames have their own currency, like pool points or golf points. You have to play almost every minigame in order to get every crewmate, but thankfully the best of the best are usually not found through this method. There's also a number of support crewmates, which are primarily found by rescuing animals on the map, then raising them in Goro Kingdom, which is a side thing I'll talk about later. Support crewmates don't fight, but they provide an active boost of some sort in battle. And I almost forgot, there's a handful of support and on-the-field crewmates that can only be obtained through DLC. And for the first time in one of these games, the DLC units are actually not the very best, just almost the best units you can have in one of these side games. Okay, now that we have our crew, it's time to embark. Well actually, the ship has a ton of upgrades that are available through an upgrade menu on the ship, as well as Julie's Gearworks. The upgrade menu allows you to buy new cannons and upgrade your ship's health and ammo. Julie's Gearworks, on the other hand, provides rare or special cannons that can be crafted after finding enough resources. A lot of these resources can only be found when sailing, so it makes for a fun gameplay loop. Now we can go on a pirate adventure. Okay, wait, no, last thing. We have to get the pizza exterior and the Ichiban Kasuga sails, or else you're not a real gamer. Okay, now let's do it. Sailing is not quite as open and free as maybe some other pirate games are. You have a list of maps to explore, and you sail them to reach a few objectives. There's lighthouses, which are fast travel points that fully restore your ship's health and stock of tools, like repairs, smoke screens, and boosts. There's treasures, which are islands that you dock at, fight a few enemies, then collect a treasure of some sort. These treasures give you money as well as some pirate points, which can be used to buy combat upgrades for Majima. There's random encounters, which of course you have to do a set number of in order to 100% the game. Although the 7 seas consists of what's basically 7 small maps, there's enough on each that you won't sail for maybe more than 20 seconds without encountering something. More than I can say of some games. Boom! The final and most important objective when sailing, though, are the Devil Flags. You go to these scary map markers and fight the Devil Flags, a notorious pirate crew, on land or at sea. Beating them rewards you with Devil Flags, which let you progress to a new island if you collect enough. There are multiple milestone bosses along the Devil Flag storyline, each rewarding Majima with a new instrument to use in combat in a Sea Dog style. Each instrument has a bit of variety, but a general rule of thumb is that the newest one you obtain is pretty much the best. There are 4 instruments to find and 5 pirate captains to fight, making this pirate story a somewhat repetitive loop of going to an island, unlocking lighthouses, looting treasures, fighting Devil Flags, and repeat. While repetitive, it's fun the entire time and definitely doesn't overstay its welcome. Doing this storyline and collecting the treasures associated with it will also give you more than enough pirate points and money than you'll probably ever need. Now that we're done with this side story game thing, I'd love it if the games were just a little minier. Minigames are essential to the Like a Dragon experience. If I ever played one of these games and it was devoid of minigames, I'm pretty sure I would riot. Well, luckily we have nothing to worry about. The minigames are here and they're plentiful. Each minigame has a handful of completion metrics tied to them, but overall this game has a pretty easy list of tasks, so I'll be ranking every Pirate Yakuza minigame on how fun it was to complete from worst to best. During the game, there's a number of crewmates to recruit, but also some animals that act as support units. After rescuing an animal, usually by talking to an NPC or by spending money, the animals are sent to Goro Kingdom on Rich Island. Goro Kingdom shows up as a minigame on the map, but it's technically not since the completion metrics aren't in the same place as all the other minigames. Either way, you feed your animals, wait 10 to 15 minutes, feed them again. Once you do this 3 times, you've recruited all the animal buddies you could ever ask for. It's the worst because there's no game in this minigame, and it might not even be a minigame in the first place. The Sega Master System has a surprisingly large library of games that are playable in Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, but I'll never really know how good they are since the only completion metrics is to start up each game once. You don't even have to play them. The UFO Catcher has slowly become my least favorite recurring minigame in the Like a Dragon series. It's your run-of-the-mill claw game, but the claw is absolutely horrid to control, and oftentimes you just use it to drag the prize into the hole instead of picking up and dropping things. Historically, the completion requirement has always been to get one of every prize available. However, in Pirate Yakuza, the game only tracks if you've gotten at least one of each type of prize, so if there's a penguin and they come in red, blue, yellow, green, and black, you just have to get one and you're good. I should have read a bit more carefully because I wasted my time getting everything before I noticed this. Oopsie daisy. Pool has made its way into this game, and if I can be honest, me and Pool just don't really get along. I respect it as a game, I like sinking the ball into the pocket, I like iPhone 8-ball Pool. I'm just really bad and impatient when it comes to this one, so I dread completing it every time. This one has pool points, which you can use to unlock some gear and a couple crewmates, and the main challenge is just beating enough CPUs to get all those pool points required. Other than that, you have to do a bit of the one-shot challenge, which is a trick shot with obstacles. I somehow got through this one with minimal issue, but I can't say I find it to be very fun. At number 20 and 19 respectively are Oicho Kabu and Poker. These are 2 gambling games that, in the context of completing this game, are as simple as pressing A until you have enough good hands to complete them. I normally love poker in real life, but the combination of playing against CPUs and just needing to hit a certain score threshold makes this one a bit of a waiting game when trying to complete a Like a Dragon game. The Ocean Hunter is a classic Sega arcade game that's an on-rail shooter. This is far from the first one to be featured in the Like a Dragon games, but it's probably the weakest so far. The only completion requirement is to beat every stage, but you can just brute force this one by spamming the shoot button and spending a fraction of your money on death to continue. The visuals are cool in this one, but it's not the most fun. John her brain too small to understand shogi. Me lookup guide. It alright.
What do you mean, it all right?
Fighting Vipers 2 is a quirky fighting game available in the arcade, and it controls just a bit strangely. Typically the issue with the older arcade games is that the CPU is ridiculously difficult and lives in your head rent-free, but this one was really easy all things considered. There's nothing really wrong with this one, it's just a bit confusing to complete honestly. You have to fight every possible enemy, which requires 2 runs of the game. You basically have to keep track of when the fight you're doing is going to branch off into 2 potential fights in the following stage, and if you want to go on one path, you need to end the final round with more than 50% HP, but the other path you need less than 50% HP. It's really odd and required me to look up how it works, because honestly, I'm just too skilled to be under 50% HP on purpose. I mean, sorry, I'm so damn good at the game. Wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? Sega Racing Classic 2 goes around the middle of this list because it's honestly pretty forgettable. You have to race on every course, and then you have to do it again on a slightly different version of the same game. Everyone loves doing the same shit over and over again, especially me. This one's decently fun though. But speaking of the same thing over and over again, Spike Out is an arcade game present in Infinite Wealth that I hoped I wouldn't see again in this game.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in.
This is a pretty long-winded beat-em-up that just requires you to beat every stage. You have to beat the second and third stage in a very specific order to do every level in one attempt. The hardest parts of this one, in Infinite Wealth, are that you had to do all of this twice, it was set to a high difficulty, and there's a soft lock that happens if you run out of HP at the same time you beat a boss. Luckily, none of these apply this time around, as you only have to beat this one once, there's an easy difficulty setting, and the soft lock may still exist, but I just didn't run into it because the game was easy. Even if I did though, there is a level select which was not present before. Spike Out is decently fun, but it's not my favorite, so this spot on the list just seems fair to me. Unlike UFO Catcher, darts is a minigame that I don't mind being in every game in the series. You throw darts at a dartboard and get a big score, that's really it. You're able to play against your crewmates for rewards, and otherwise it's easy to complete. Keep on keeping on, darts. Blackjack shares the same issues as Oicho Kabu or Poker, where you're essentially just waiting for enough good hands to complete it, but I just really like Blackjack. Even if you don't like the game, there's still cheat items that instantly complete this one for you, making Blackjack one of the most painless minigame experiences in pretty much every game in the series. You definitely keep on keeping on Blackjack. Now Mahjong, you gotta keep yourself the hell away from me. I will, for the rest of history, have a love-hate relationship with this minigame. I have a lot of respect for Mahjong and enjoy how it's played, but I'm equally confused that they have such a complicated minigame in a game where, apologies for being rude, You can pretty much mash the attack button and win 90% of the fights in this series. Mahjong, on the other hand, is surprisingly complex, and the game has never really given a good tutorial on how to play it. On top of that, you can't really win a hand by accident in Mahjong. The completion metrics are pretty easy this time around. I found 2 cheat items which allow you to insta-win games. You need to win at every table, win 10 hands, and if you're going for all the cosmetics, you need to win in the Mahjong tournament at the front desk. I'd highly recommend saving your cheat item for this one. Again, it's a love-hate thing for Mahjong, but I gotta admit, it was pretty fun this time around. Till next time, my old friend. Virtua Fighter 3 is in this one, and it's pretty good. Past games have included Virtua Fighter 2 or 5, so this one is still fresh and cool to me. It has a pretty novel 3 vs 3 concept, where each round is fought with a different character, and the completion metrics are as simple as beating the game. Just a side note, Pirate Yakuza might have the best minigame challenges in the series. There's really no completion metrics that require an exorbitant amount of extra playtime, there's nothing so impossibly hard that barely anyone can do it, and there's a good amount of challenge here and there. If ever there was a game to do the minigame challenges, this may be the one. You probably still shouldn't, but after completing 12 other games in the series, this is a breath of fresh air. Back to Virtua Fighter 3, it's pretty good. Golf is also pretty good. Yakuza 3 and 4 had a golf minigame where you actually played on a 9-hole golf course, but everything past that has a golf center where you can either hit the ball as close to the pin as possible, or knock out squares in the distance to create bingos. Golf can only be found in Madlantis in this game, and I love how all the cutouts have a little pirate flair added to them. Like a couple other minigames, there's golf points to unlock gear and crewmates, and I had to play a bit more golf than I would have liked to complete this one. Still a top 10 minigame though. Sicko Snap is quite possibly the most interesting minigame that Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii has to offer. You take pictures of strange men in an homage to Pokemon Snap. What's not to love? You do 3 on-rails courses where you take as many clear, focused, and centered images of the sickos as possible to rack up as many points as you can. This one has sicko points that you can spend for either crewmates or gear, and you don't actually have to replay it too much. The very best part of this one though is that there's actually a hidden 4th course you unlock at the very end, where you sail down an island resort and even photograph a legendary Sujimon. This is like a Sicko Snap boss battle, which is a very cool innovation from a minigame that was pretty boring and repetitive to complete in Infinite Wealth. I hope we get to go to space next time this minigame shows up though. From concept alone, the vocational school gets a 10 out of 10. If this is the only Like a Dragon game you've ever played, even better. The biggest problem with the vocational school in Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, and this is something that mostly just affects me as a completionist, is that almost every question is reused from Yakuza Like a Dragon or Infinite Wealth's version of this minigame. There are 1 or 2 new categories with trivia about the pirate stuff, but otherwise it's copy-pasted questions. That's kind of something that you shouldn't have in a knowledge-based minigame. This might fly for Mahjong or for Sicko Snap, but not here. And that to me is one of the most disappointing parts of the entire game, to be honest. Having the employees and patrons hip hip hooray for me when I pass an exam is still my favorite thing in the world though. Koi Koi My Beloved. It happened after completing 7 or 8 of these games, but I just love Koi Koi. The way my brain lights up when I get a moon or cherry blossom viewing is how I can only imagine Balatro players feel when the big number goes up. Karaoke stays consistently great in this series. There's only a handful of songs in Pirate Yakuza, and the only requirement is to sing all of them with a high yet achievable score. It's real good. On to the next one. Crazy Delivery. They should have called it Super Crazy Delivery. This and the next few minigames are very fun. If we're doing a tier list, this is on the S tier for sure. You pick up 3 different food items, do flips and shit, and deliver orders to hungry people. You need to beat every course on every difficulty, do a certain number of tricks, make deliveries, and use the delivery points you get to buy everything at the shop once you complete this one. I wish I had more to say about this one. It's pure fun, and my only hope for future games is that they'll keep this one and maybe add a few new tracks and ways to do tricks. With a new Mario Kart on the horizon, what are we to do to fill the void? Will we play Crazy Delivery? No, that's not really a racing game. Will we play Sega Racing Classic 2? No, that game kinda fucking sucks. Dragon Kart. We'll play Dragon Kart. This game is a brief but fun kart racer. Majima races in multiple Grand Prix all around Hawaii, and the course design is pretty damn good. My personal favorite is the one where you ride a boardwalk that doesn't exist over the water, and my least favorite is these demolition derby battles that you have to do. There's a couple of these, and they all consist of getting power-ups and attacking other racers. It's still pretty good, but the CPUs never really get much harder. The game just decides that all the CPUs should aim for you to add challenge to this one. I like Dragon Kart because you can go really fast, and it reminds me of this blue guy that I know. No, not him. That's the one. Yeah, they really cooked with this one. This one isn't counted as a minigame in the completion list, but like, what would you call this? Skim the Scum? That's a stupid ass name. Oh shit, sorry about that. You have to play this cooking minigame quite a bit, as it's the only way to make food for your crew, meals for your animals in Goro Kingdom, and great heals for Majima himself. And if you don't care about any of that utility, you do have to cook every single thing for the completion list, and put on 20 feasts for your crew, which can only be done by cooking certain meal items, and have 20 parties with your crew, which you can only do by cooking certain meal items. So play this one or you're cooked. I have played 12 different versions of this stupid ass batting game. They pitch the ball, you aim at a target, and time your swing. With little to no innovation, you're at the same bland green batting center. One time you had to hit balls to reveal a naked lady to a whole crowd of people. That was kind of fucking weird. But I am here to say that Bang Bang Batting is a perfect minigame. It completely innovates the batting center gameplay that most fans are already used to, and recontextualizes it to great effect. You remember how I remarked on how some of the cutouts had pirate shit on them in the golf minigame? Well, what if instead of a baseball, you hit a damn cannonball into explosive barrels? How is that for some pirate shit? What if also, because Madlantis is a treasure-filled gambling center for pirates, the batting minigame resembles one of those slot machines that's equally flashy and trashy with the gold flowing everywhere? You know what I'm talking about? And what if I also told you there's like a flashy and trashy gimmick where this is kind of like a pseudo puzzle mobile game on top of that with Bang Bang Batting's endless mode? Look me in the eye and tell me the Candy Crush player base would not go nuts for this damn game. God, I love this minigame. I know Majima is going to forget he was a pirate next game and none of this shit will have mattered, but I really hope they find a way to bring this one back. If you can believe it, Pirate Yakuza has a number of completion metrics tied to doing just about any mundane task you can think of. So here's an exhaustive list of all the things you have to do to 100% the game. We've got traveling a certain distance on foot, traveling a certain distance on the Street Surfer, riding the trolley 10 times, taking 30 selfies with a monkey filter on even though Majima's 60 years old, going to every restaurant and ordering everything on the menus. There's this whole section devoted to looking at stuff and hitting the A button. You need to hit the A button on a dumpster, hit the A button on the toilet, hit it on seeds, sand piles, briefcases. You need to plant plants and harvest said plants. They added a grappling hook in this one. You best believe you gotta grapple the fruits off of trees, bugs out of the air, and fish from the water. You gotta collect everything. Every CD in the game. Ooh, Angry Birds. Every customizable part for the Street Surfer. Every customizable part for Majima, otherwise known as clothes. Every treasure. Every ring. There are all sorts of reasons to run around the map like an asshole. There's conversations you can find on different parts of the map that allow Majima to talk to his closest crewmates. There's a mechanic called Photo Rally where you get screenshots of different areas in the city that you have to take note of, and then you have to take a picture that matches that screenshot. And worst of all is definitely Aloha links. Imagine poking someone on Facebook, right? Now imagine that was real. There are 200 people all over Hawaii to greet and befriend. Most of the friendships can be maxed out by waving hello, but even the waving you have to do upwards of 3 to 4 times per person to max the friendship. You also have to reload the area to encounter the same NPC on separate occasions. You can't just wave to them 3 times in a row. There's NPCs that can only be befriended by giving them some gifts of some sort. Some of them are dogs and they're very cute. And you've got the occasional oddball like an NPC that walks around with a traveling shop that usually has rare items. Aloha links were also present in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and of all the systems to come back, why this one?
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Even at sea you need to interact with NPCs a lot. There's no Aloha links out there, thank God, but you do have to go to a bunch of different lighthouses in hopes that there's a shop or a trader there. Lastly, there's a fishing net that you need to change out every time you travel 2.5 kilometers. You have to do this 30 times and travel 2.5 kilometers per time, so basically that's a lot. The last part of the completion list is devoted to combat-related stuff, on land and at sea. There's one for fighting 400 enemies on the street, using heat actions, destroying objects while you fight, beating 500 enemies using the Mad Dog style, and 500 enemies using Sea Dog. Pretty much any combat mechanic in the game needs to be used ad nauseum until you're done. For ship combat it's the same. Attack enemies with a rocket launcher, sink enemy ships, the whole 9 yards. But if you really want to farm combat requirements efficiently, look no further than this last thing I had to do to 100% the game. The Colosseums in these more recent Like a Dragon games have slowly become my favorite part of the completion experience. A lot of people don't realize that completing these games is at best 30% combat and the rest is running around the map or cooking a nice meal. The Madlantis Colosseum is a collection of the best and toughest battles that Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii has to offer. There are 4 categories of battles to choose from, all with bronze, silver, gold, and platinum level challenges. The difficulty spike is pretty sharp, and if you don't have a well-leveled crew, ship, or Majima, you will lose the gold and platinum fights for sure. The first type of fight is Quick Clash. You do a ship battle, board the ship, and fight a pirate crew. The next is Madlantis Mania, which is just a battle on a boarded ship. These fights are going to be harder on average than the boarded battles in Quick Clash, and typically consist of multiple rounds. These gave me a bit of trouble, to be honest. There's Tournament of Captains, which is just a multi-round version of Quick Clash. Endurance is key here, and losing a round requires you to start from the beginning. Last is Swashbuckler Showdown, which are large-scale battles on a beach with your whole crew versus usually 100 enemies. This one is fun and chaotic, but for me, it was the easiest of the Coliseum battles. But the hardest, on the other hand, unlocks once you beat every Coliseum challenge. A battle against the Amon Pirates. The Amon clan is a recurring secret boss fight, usually unlocked after beating every sub-story in the game. It's usually just a really tough boss fight, but in this game, it's the 3 toughest fights this game has to offer. You start off with a ship battle where the Amon Pirates control a massive tanky ship with super high damage cannons. Winning this part will bring you to the deck of their ship, where you fight the Amon Pirates with your crew. I would say a nearly maxed out crew is required for this one, on top of some smart fighting on the player's end. Of the 3 fights, this is probably the easiest, but still no joke. The final fight is a one-on-one on the beach between Majima and Taiyo Amon, the captain of the Amon Pirates. This is a multi-phase fight, and you'll soon realize that Taiyo has a very similar moveset to Majima's, including the ability to create doppelgangers of himself. The first phase is pretty standard, then clones come out, then these hovering phantom knives come out. I never found a consistent way to avoid these, so I just healed through them and eventually ended up beating Amon on my 3rd or 4th attempt. And with Amon defeated, all side activities done, and all combat metrics complete, and everything else freaking done, I done did that. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii took 49.2 hours to 100%, and that's with me watching the cutscenes, by the way. How hard was this game to 100%? Not bad, honestly. This is a pretty painless platinum trophy, and while there's some boring grind involved in full 100%ing like I did, you could do that too. Though I honestly think the platinum is more than enough. So, yeah, I guess I'll see you all for the next Like a Dragon game. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. I'm actually completing all sorts of games on the channel now, but obviously I had to come back for Pirate Yakuza. And if you want to give back, consider subscribing to the channel or even becoming a channel member or a patron. Either one gives you access to your name in the credits and the occasional channel update. I've got all sorts of links and channels and such too. Check out my streams, I stream like twice a week. Check out my Let's Play channel, I upload like thrice a week. Check out my Like a Dragon podcast, I do it like once a month. Is that enough shilling of my content? Come on, click off the video already. What do you want me to shill? JohnHub.com, my website where you can find all the projects I'm working on? Okay, bye!